In the vast, unforgiving Pacific, air superiority wasn't just an advantage, it was survival. By 1941, the U.S. Navy faced an enemy with some of the most agile, lethal fighters on Earth, the Japanese Mitsubishi A6M0. Outmatched in maneuverability, outranged in endurance, and outclimbed in performance, America desperately needed aircraft that could fight and win over thousands of miles of open ocean. What followed was one of the most dramatic and rapid evolutions in aerial warfare history, from the rugged F4F Wildcat to the unstoppable F6F Hellcat, and finally the blisteringly fast F8F Bearcat. These three fighters transformed U.S. naval aviation and helped swing the tide of the Pacific War. This is the story of how America went from underdog to undisputed master of the skies through innovation, grit, and the relentless pursuit of air superiority. Before the Wildcat ever left a carrier deck, naval aviation looked nothing like the force it would become by 1945. In the 1930s, carrier platforms were still experimental. Their fighters were light biplanes with fixed landing gear, slow, underpowered, and fragile. The U.S. Navy needed rugged aircraft, capable of surviving brutal carrier landings, violent crosswinds, and corrosive salt air. Enter Grumman, a young but ambitious aerospace company that became known for one thing: building aircraft that sailors trusted with their lives. Grumman engineers embraced a unique philosophy: construct fighters like naval tanks, strong, repairable, and able to return home even full of holes. But across the Pacific, Japan was designing something radically different. The A6M0 emphasized pure performance, speed, range, and maneuverability, all achieved by sacrificing armor and self-sealing fuel tanks. Two philosophies, two visions of aerial combat, and they would collide in the most brutal theater of war humanity had ever seen. The F4F Wildcat wasn't flashy, it wasn't pretty, and it wasn't the fastest fighter in 1940. But it was tough. So tough, in fact, that Wildcat pilots joked the aircraft was built from submarine parts. Built to replace the aging F3F biplane series, the Wildcat introduced retractable landing gear cranked manually by the pilot, a powerful Pratt & Whitney R1830 engine, heavy armament, 4 to 6.5 caliber machine guns, self-sealing fuel tanks, and a heavily armored cockpit. And most importantly, it could take hits that would tear a Zero apart. Combat trial by fire. When the Pacific War erupted, the Wildcat was thrown into battle against the Zero, an aircraft 20% lighter and significantly more agile. At first glance, it looked like a massacre waiting to happen. But the Wildcat had several hidden advantages. It could dive far faster than the Zero without tearing apart. Its roll rate at high speed was superior. Its armor allowed pilots to survive hits that would kill a Zero instantly. It could fire devastating bursts from its .5 caliber guns. The Thatch Weave. When U.S. pilots realized they couldn't dogfight Zeros, they adapted. Commander John "Jimmy" Thatch developed a revolutionary tactic. Two Wildcats flew in opposite weaving patterns, forcing a pursuing Zero into the guns of one of the Wildcats. It worked and saved countless lives. The Wildcat's legacy. During key battles like Coral Sea, Midway, and Guadalcanal, the Wildcat held the line when America needed it most. Outnumbered, outperformed, but never outclassed. It wasn't the hero the Navy wanted, but it became the hero the Navy needed. By late 1942, the Navy needed something new, something that could not just survive the Zero, but surpass it in every category. Grumman listened, but instead of starting from scratch, they did something brilliant. They built the F6F Hellcat around the Zero's weaknesses. The result was one of the most successful fighters in aviation history. Technical evolution. The Hellcat featured 2,000 horsepower Pratt & Whitney R2800 double wasp, a top speed of 380 miles per hour, 6.5 caliber machine guns with 400+ rounds each, massive fuel capacity with drop tanks, reinforced wings capable of carrying bombs or rockets, exceptional climb rate and visibility. But its greatest strength? Ease of control. Even rookie pilots could fly it effectively. Combat performance. When the Hellcat entered service in 1943, everything changed. In just 2 years, it destroyed more than 5,100 enemy aircraft, achieved an unprecedented 19-to-1 kill ratio, dominated battles from the Marianas Turkey Shoot to the Philippines against the Zero. Unlike the Wildcat, the Hellcat could fight on its own terms. It could outclimb the Zero, outdive the Zero, out-accelerate the Zero, outshoot the Zero. The Hellcat was engineered to win, not by matching the Zero's agility, but by overpowering it with speed, firepower, and resilience. The result? Air superiority, total and absolute. By 1944, Grumman engineers were already dreaming of something even faster, something that could intercept incoming threats within minutes and dominate the next generation of aerial combat. The result was the F8F Bearcat, one of the fastest piston-engine fighters ever built. Design philosophy. The Bearcat pushed the limits of propeller aircraft technology. Lightweight airframe, massive R2800 engine on a small fuselage, top speed approaching 450 miles per hour, astounding climb rate over 4,500 feet per minute, bubble canopy for perfect visibility, clipped wings for roll performance. It was so powerful that early test pilots reported the aircraft could nearly out-accelerate its own propeller, the tragedy of timing. But the Bearcat had one fatal flaw. It arrived too late. The first squadrons received their Bearcats in 1945, mere months before Japan's surrender. The world was entering the jet age, and even the best piston fighters were becoming obsolete. Still, the Bearcat earned a special place in aviation history. It became a favorite in air racing. It served with the French in Indochina, and it represented the absolute peak of American prop fighter engineering. The evolution from Wildcat to Hellcat to Bearcat tells a bigger story, one of industrial adaptation, engineering innovation, and the brutal necessities of wartime combat. These aircraft turned U.S. carriers into roaming fortresses, helped win decisive victories across the Pacific, demonstrated the power of rapid technological evolution, set the stage for America's dominance in naval aviation. Without these fighters, the Pacific War would have been a far longer, deadlier conflict. They were more than machines. They were symbols of American resilience, ingenuity, and determination. From the sturdy Wildcat to the unstoppable Hellcat to the lightning-fast Bearcat, the U.S. Navy's World War II fighter evolution remains one of the most extraordinary transformations in aviation history. It's a story of innovation under fire, of engineers and pilots rewriting the rules of aerial combat on the fly. These aircraft didn't just win battles, they defined an era. If you enjoyed this documentary and want more deep-dive military history, make sure to like the video, comment your favorite aircraft below, and subscribe to help us keep these stories alive. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious.